Hey everyone, I'm Jamie. I'm an industrial designer based in New Zealand. Over the years I've been fortunate enough to work on projects ranging from consumer products right through to large service experiences. And I've done this with some amazing clients, and very grateful to them for letting me be part of their journey, but also really proud of the work that I've done and I've been part of a team to do over the last 25, 26 years. But one of the things that I found like a challenge with my line of work as being a consultant designer is that most of it happens behind closed doors. So projects are confidential for very good reason. And by the time they reach the public, the design journey behind them is rarely seen. So I've always thought that was a bit of a shame, because the journey is often the most interesting part. You know, we have the sketches, the prototypes, the failed ideas, the ideas that work, the testing, the evolution of a concept, and the countless decisions that kind of come out and then shape that outcome. So I guess for the first time, for me anyway, I wanted to create a project where I could share the entire process openly. And the only way I thought could do that was to do my own project, and it's something I've never done over the 25, 26 years. So it's going to be interesting. I thought I'd document that journey and see where it leads. So if you're interested, tune in. So I'm going to probably make these videos quite authentic, as in I'm driving right now from a catch up at Auckland Airport, heading back to my computer. Anyway, so I came up with this idea of doing this, designing a project for myself, which is great, but I need a design. I need something to design too, right? So what is that going to be? I've spent so long doing other people's projects, some amazing ideas. I had to try and find out what my idea was going to be, and that turned out to be harder than I thought, until it wasn't. But it was harder because I wanted something that was going to do a few things, right? I wanted it keep me engaged, to make me want to do this, like carry it on. Like it'd be very easy just to, flick out a couple of episodes and then go, right, that's it, call it a day on that. But I want to see this through and commit to it. So I kind of looked around at different spaces, different markets, different sectors, trying to find problems, but I kind of pulled it back to myself and like my personal experiences, because I want something that keeps me motivated, something that I want to do, not have to do. And so I kind of looked at the things that I really enjoy, and some of those are the outdoors, renovating, like DIY stuff, family, all those sort of nice things. And then I kind of branched out on each of those kind of markets or sectors, and then kind of looked at, okay, what ones have got problems that I could potentially have a crack at trying to solve. And long story short, I had an experience about 2 weeks ago where I took the kids camping, and we were go to a spot we go to a lot, very familiar. We have a lot of gear, a lot of camping gear. So that's fantastic. We've kind of built it up over years as the kids have grown. And so weather forecast was great. Supposed to be no clouds, sunshine the whole time. Going to be a bit crisp overnight. That was cool. Prepared for that. And so we packed a couple of, instead of a big tent, we instead packed 2 small hiking tents and a kind of communal tent, which basically a dome tent with some walls on it, to use for cooking and just hanging out, and then we'd sleep in these smaller tents. So that was all cool. Got all set up, went for a walk, came back, and it started to piss down with the rain. And so we were not stuck, but we were kind of condemned to our main communal tent, which is, there was no floor on it. There was no, the wind could blow right up underneath. There was no side skirts. And then if we wanted to go to the bedrooms for whatever reason, we were getting wet. I didn't have a tarp to straddle between the two. And yeah, I could have bought my big tent. But even then, there's challenges around that. So that experience got me thinking. There's been a number of times where I've been out camping or hiking or whatever, and the equipment, and maybe it's the equipment I'm buying, but the equipment has let me down, not properly, but like in little ways, which I thought, we can there's a chance here, an opportunity here to make some changes to solve some of these pain points and turn them into opportunities to, enhance that experience. So with that in mind, that's where I landed. I went for a family tent. Let's try and redesign the family tent and see where that goes. Oh, kia ora, back again. Just another thought. A lot of them happen when I'm driving from A to B, and I think that's just what happens as a designer. You have thoughts in weird times. A lot of mine happen in the car. Here we are. Another attractive thing about doing the family tent idea was that of all the products I've designed over the years, I've done very little in the fabric space, particularly tension fabrics. So that was a great opportunity for me to grow my knowledge and my understanding about how that material works, functions, designed to produce, test, all that sort of thing, and something that I can pull back into my professional practice, and then offer that to customers in the future as something that I have a grounded knowledge in, having done this project and worked through and understood what the challenges are and how to treat that material and how to respect it. So that was a really kind of a nice little add-on to this whole idea of doing a family tent. But yeah, I'll park that there and keep driving. Almost back at the workspace now in my little studio, so I'll be able to take you through what I started looking at next, which is how do we shape an identity around this whole project, and I guess the way I worked to come up with some ideas and what they look like. But that's coming up next. See you there. If I'd chosen a family tent as the focus of this project, the truth is camping has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. Growing up, it was something I did with my parents, my brothers. Some of my favourite memories come from weekends away. Family holidays, sitting around a campsite, exploring somewhere new, and simply spending time together outdoors. Now, all these years later, is something I do with my own family. In a world that's constantly busy, camping offers something quite rare, a chance to slow down, switch off, and get back to a simpler way of living. Meals take longer, conversations last longer. Time seems to move differently. It's an opportunity to reconnect and be with nature, and more importantly, reconnect with each other. Over the years, I've owned all sorts of tents, small tents, large tents, family tents, some that were brilliant and some that were frustrating. And as a designer, I found it impossible not to observe aspects of each of them. Every trip seemed to reveal another compromise, another frustration, or another opportunity for improvement. Sometimes it was how they handled wind. Sometimes it was how they handled rain. It could have been the way the living spaces worked or didn't work, and how we as people use them. Eventually, I realised it wasn't just about camping anymore. It became a challenge of designing a better outdoor shelter for families, and that's where the OWEA journey begins. Once I decided to take on this project, I knew I wanted to create an identity for it from the very beginning. Not because I had ambitions of building a brand, but because I wanted the project to have a journey of its own, something that could evolve alongside the ideas, the sketches, the prototypes, and everything that followed. One of the things I did was start looking at companies already operating in the outdoor and camping space. I wanted to understand the landscape, and more importantly, I wanted to understand what to avoid. I explored hundreds of names, searching online to see what had already been used, and quickly realised that almost every option, every obvious option, had already been taken. So I changed tack. Instead of searching for an existing word, I started exploring combinations of letters, something unique, something memorable, something that could develop its own identity over time. But I also wanted it to have a personal connection. Growing up, I spent a lot of time in a small town at the bottom of New Zealand's South Island called OWEA. Many of my childhood holidays were spent there with my family, and later my parents bought a holiday home, or crib, as they're known in the South Island. It's a place that represents many of the things this project is about: the outdoors, exploration, family, simplicity, simply time spent together. As I looked through the letters that make up OWEA, one combination kept standing out: OWEA. There was no science behind it, it was simply a gut feeling. The more I looked at it, the more it felt right. This project now had a name: OWEA. The name connected to family memories, the outdoors, and the place where so many of those memories were made. But more importantly, this project now had an identity, a blank canvas that could grow and evolve alongside the project itself. Because for me, OWEA isn't really about designing a tent. It's about exploring how better design can improve the way families experience the outdoors. And this is where that journey begins.